The 18 Strong Podcast, episode number 166 with Kris Hart from NextGenGolf.
Anybody who's in the golf business or running events, we all acknowledge, and I love the campaign of thanks PGA Pro, because for us to be able to succeed, you need to have a great one, a great facility, and two, a great facilitator as a PGA professional.
Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, where you get direct access to the world's greatest experts on training harder, practicing smarter, and playing better golf. Now, here's your host, Jeff Pellizzero.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the 18 Strong Podcast, where we believe that your body is the greatest piece of golf equipment that you own, and neglecting it is the most surefire way to playing mediocre golf. Let me ask you a question. If you know a high school golfer, competitive golfer, or maybe you are a competitive high school golfer, and you're not quite sure if you're ready to play collegiate golf, Division I golf, but you still want to compete in some fashion or another, what's the next step? What's the avenue that you take if you know that maybe you're not going to play for the team of that school? Or kind of a few years later, what if you're possibly a collegiate golfer, or you're just a business professional and you want to kind of get back into that competition, or you want to get into competition for the first time, but you're not quite necessarily ready to go play in a club championship or anything like that? What do you do? Well, our guest this week is Kris Hart from NextGenGolf, and Kris basically has answered this question and has solved this question with what they're doing at NextGenGolf. Kris and his team have literally taken over college club golf and then even developed what they now call the City Tours, which is basically a league, a nationwide league for guys and girls that all can play on teams together and compete, both at a very high level or a not so serious level. And it really kind of intrigued me to hear. I was just introduced to Kris a couple of weeks ago, and it intrigued me to hear what they're doing and really how big this has gotten, and how it's taken over a lot of the college ranks of golf. Because, let's face it, every kid that's playing golf in high school cannot play and may not be able to afford to play, or doesn't want to play and commit that time to playing in college at the same level that you would if you were on the collegiate sanctioned team. And so club golf has really kind of exploded. And in many ways, it's due to what Kris and the guys and girls at NextGenGolf are doing. So I just wanted to bring Kris on to talk about the opportunities that are out there. Unfortunately, there's some age limitations, so old guys like me aren't really able to get in the mix with these yet. But hopefully, you'll hear me poking and prodding at Kris to maybe getting something for the next level of golfer. But it's just really cool to see what they're doing and how they're helping to grow the game. So I think you're going to enjoy this one and see that there's a lot of opportunities out there for the younger golfers to continue to play in that competitive arena of golf, but maybe not necessarily, make the sacrifices that they would have to make in order to do that at a much higher level where they may not get a chance or an opportunity. Before introducing you to Kris, I just want to say a quick thanks to our sponsor for this week's episode, the PGA Tour mobile app. As we know, the PGA Tour is once again back in swing. The 2017-18 season has begun, and it's definitely a way to keep up with the golf. It's not quite getting the coverage that it normally would in the swing of the main part of the season. And so, on the weekends, football's on. There's a lot of different things, and golf may not be the first thing on the top of your mind when you're flipping on the tube, but you're able to stay up to date, keep track of what's going on with these guys on a daily basis, and check out their scores, check out their highlights, check out the shots and everything and where they are. So if you haven't checked out the PGA Tour mobile app, you can go find it at any of your app-friendly stores, whether it be iPhone, BlackBerry, Samsung, whatever you got. And you can always find the link over on the show notes page for the 18 Strong Podcast, episode number 166. You can find it over there. So be sure to go and check out the PGA Tour mobile app. All right, let's get to the interview with Kris Hart from NextGenGolf. Kris Hart, welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
You got it. Thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here. Honored you'd have me on.
Oh, for sure. So I gave the listeners a little bit of a preamble of what NextGenGolf is, a little bit, but just to kind of start out the show, give us an idea of where this whole idea came from, or what sparked what you guys are doing now. I know that it's grown and evolved since that time, but what kind of brought this whole thing into fruition?
Yeah, NextGenGolf really fundamentally started around college golf and non-varsity college golf. Personally, I had that issue. I played varsity golf my first 3 years of college and didn't play varsity senior year. And, quite frankly, couldn't afford to pay $50 to play down the street and didn't have free equipment anymore. And there was no competition unless you were a varsity player. So we fundamentally looked at college golf and some of the issues that we've seen of, if you played high school golf and you go to a college, you may go to your dream school, but you might not be good enough to play on the varsity team. And it was amazing when we started to do research, and what really hit home is the big numbers, that there's about 226,000 kids that play high school golf, and only about 17,000 total varsity players. So less than 8% of kids go on to play varsity golf at all levels. So there was a significant market, 90+% of kids that were used to playing avid competitive golf that was taken away from them. And that's where we're really focused on the college side initially.
And so, you being a college player and not, not playing the Division I, but played high school and wanted to keep playing. What's the difference between playing club golf and just, finding a bunch of buddies that you're going to school with and playing golf? Why were guys, and why were you maybe not able to just kind of rally a few guys and say, hey, let's go play? What's the difference between club golf and that?
Well, you could do that. I think that's what exists on a lot of campuses. But club golf provides, we govern and sanction club golf in the country. So we provide the infrastructure. We have regional tournaments that take place each semester. So a team will play in 2 regional events and then a national championship each semester. Depending on the school, clubs can be really, really competitive. And, if you're part of a club golf team on campus, there might be, hundreds of students that are part of the golf club. Some of them are going to be competitive, some of them are going to be more recreational, but club golf and being, facilitated through the university and through the NCCGA helps students have more structure behind it, and they have something to play for. It's pretty cool when you think about how colleges have all these divisional rivalries, and, we have those in club golf. Where teams are competing, regionally and locally to earn the spot to come to our national championship. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty special, especially when you look at the big name schools that all have club golf teams. And the cool thing about club golf is it's all co-ed. So men and women play on the same team. It's very inclusive. We have varying skill levels, even in events, and we have players that shoot all the way from 64 to 114. There's a huge skill gap there. And, one thing that parents really like is that kids will never miss classes. So, we pride ourselves on students being students first. They can go to class, they can join a fraternity or sorority, they can join business clubs, they can really focus on their studies, have a full college experience, and play competitive golf. And for anybody who has played varsity college golf in college, or any varsity sport for that matter, it's a job. It's a big commitment, and the big differences of not having forced workouts or forced practices. Club golf is a little bit more relaxed, but it's also still very competitive as well.
You mentioned that some of the teams are extremely competitive. Do some of them have, kind of workout programs and almost kind of like they're developing into kind of like the Division I schools are? Does it get that competitive and intense? Or, have you seen that trend at all with any of these different programs?
Yeah, I think, between with 18 Strong, I think it's important to mention fitness. We do see some of our teams will post when they're doing workouts. We've seen interest in club golf teams that have interest in workouts. A lot of it's more individualized versus, call it a forced team workout. But we do see a lot of our individuals and players that are interested in fitness. They are interested in health and fitness, especially during the off season. And so, something, like 18 Strong and golf workouts and bettering themselves off the course is a really important aspect of just, health in general. I think it's very important, us and NextGenGolf focusing on this generation, and fitness, being something that people are really, really interested in, both on and off the golf course.
And so with the different teams that you have, well, first of all, are there a lot of schools that have Division I teams? Do they also have club teams?
They do. Yeah. That's the majority of our teams are,
really?
Those big name schools that, For instance, like every team in the Big Ten has a club golf team. Every team in the SEC, besides Mississippi and Mississippi State, have club golf teams. So all these big conferences, every ACC school has a club golf team. Those schools are all prominent, and they like competing against one another locally and obviously nationally.
This is cool. When I was in college, we played. I played college soccer, and then there were different schools that had their club soccer teams, but they only kind of had some games here and there. And it sounds like this is so much more structured and gives so many more people the opportunity to actually enjoy and play the game. You mentioned that it's for co-eds, and I like the idea that it's also way more student friendly because, like you said, it is kind of a full-time job. What's the format of, the way that your championships work or the different events work? And you mentioned the NCCGA. Now that's your governing body, correct?
Yes. So NextGenGolf, is our overarching entity, and the NCCGA is the collegiate tour within NextGenGolf.
Okay.
But to answer your question about structure, it's very similar to varsity golf, with the exception that we're a little bit more inclusive, meaning that a team, you'll take the top 5 of 8 scores and have it stroke play, whereas varsity golf is top 4 of 5 scores. So we give the ability for more students to play. And the other thing we do is we allow schools to have more than one team on campus. So some of our clubs and some campuses have so many students that want to play golf. They have an A team, a B team, and a C team, with us, or they have 2 men's teams and 1 women's team, which is fantastic. We really want to encourage more and more people to get out there and no matter what their skill level or gender, we want them to be out playing golf and want to encourage and provide opportunities for them to do so. And some teams, you asked about the differences of varsity golf. Some of the clubs we have, it is the varsity team on campus because either due to Title IX or funding, typically those teams have been dropped from the campus. So more specifically, that we are the varsity team on some campuses.
That's pretty cool. How does a college, how do they start a team? If they don't have a team, there's, because I know there's a lot of people listening, maybe college students, maybe somebody that works at a college or would love to start up a team at a school. What's the process of getting a team started?
So we have a full-time staff and team that works on account management and really helping our team succeed. It does take a lot of work to officially get recognized by the school. It may take a semester or 2, but the key of starting a team on a campus is finding a leader. That's really the most important aspect. Who's going to be the student leader and student president and quasi coach for the team. So that's you have the champion on campus that really wants to lead the team, put people together, and get a team to play in events. And one thing that we really focus on too is we want to change the mentality that you don't have to be the best to play college golf or you're not welcome, but we welcome any students to play, even if, say, you're at a small school and you're the only golfer on campus. You can still play in the NCCGA representing your school and yourself as an individual, even if you can't get, you need at least 5 players for a team. Even if there's 3 kids or 4 students, you can play as individuals. You don't have to have a full team if you don't have the ability to do so.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So I would imagine that from the time that this idea was kind of brought about, that it's been probably a tough road of getting to where you guys are now. I mean, obviously now, it's blowing up and it's huge, and you guys have tons of events. What were some of the struggles to get this whole thing, this ball rolling, and actually make this something that you saw? Okay, we've got a future here.
It's you're right. There is a lot of work. We love college students, but dealing with them sometimes they're a bit unreliable. There's some good and bad ones. But it has taken it's taken a lot of time. It's really we've a real focus for us, and one thing that we've pride ourselves on is having a student voice and opinion. Our students help us decide the dates of our tournaments, the venues of where we're going to play, how our qualifying procedures take into account moving forward. So we flip everything on its side, and we say, well, why not let our the students and or the end customers help us develop what the NCCG is and frame it. So the student voice is something that's really, really important to us. And I think this generation in general, that they have a voice and they have an opinion that frames what we do and how we do it, versus us dictating. As a typical governing body might say, well, here's the way it is, here's what's going to happen, and you're going to play this and do that. We constantly, probably to a fault, ask too much feedback and information from our customers, but that's really what's helped develop into what the NCCGA is. And we took over the NCCGA in 2013. It had existed, actually, roots date back to all the way to 2006. When a few students were starting the Southeastern Golf Association and just playing friendly matches against campuses. And we took it from there was about 35 schools that were playing together, and now built it into what it is today. It definitely takes a lot of work and structure and patience, I'd say, but it's been a fun road as well.
Yeah, I wasn't even really thinking that you're dealing with the college students themselves. Normally there's a program, you've got a coach or you've got an administrator, but I look back to my college days and think about, the way our fraternity meetings were run and those kinds of things, and getting things done with guys on a college campus can definitely be a challenge. Who are some of the top teams from last year? Who won the championship last year?
So University of Georgia has won back-to-back championships, so they're looking to three-peat. We have our national championship coming up in Las Vegas at the Pyatt Resort on December 1st through the 3rd. So Georgia, has to be a favorite from defending champs. But a couple, the Texas region and our desert region, which includes Arizona State is the top-ranked team in the country, as well as Grand Canyon University is ranked second. Two teams from our desert region out in Arizona. They have the home field advantage, I guess, being fairly close to Vegas as well. There's some real talent in club golf as well. We have students who have shot this semester 10 under in a 2-day event. So there's some really real significant talent. And one thing that's been really cool is a number of our champions or best players from the NCCGA are using club golf to then walk on to the varsity team.
Really? That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that. And, although we hate to lose them, we're like, well, it's great. It's been great having you. You're a fantastic player. We hate to lose them, but they're bettering themselves. They're chasing their dream to walk on to big programs. For instance, like Michigan State, one of their best players didn't have a chance when he transferred, played club golf, won our championship, walked on to the team. In a similar way, we had a girl from the University of Florida, who worked her tail off over 3 years, proved how good she could do and beat all the boys in Florida, and walked on senior year to the Florida women's team. So some pretty cool stories that come out of club golf. And, we love that we're helping, students achieve to get to the next level, if it might be varsity or otherwise.
That's awesome. Do you find that those groups of folks that have done that, was that something that they were kind of intending to do, or was it something where, as they're playing in these competitive events and they obviously knew that they were probably a decent high school player, that it was something like, oh, hey, wait, I'm actually kind of getting hungry for this and I want to achieve that? Or was that maybe a little bit more the route that they kind of intended to take once they realized maybe they weren't initially going to be on that team?
Yeah, I think they had that goal. They set the goal that I want to make varsity at some point. And unfortunately, especially big name programs, a lot of them don't have any walk-ons. They've decided their team a long time ago. So we actually have relationships with a lot of the varsity coaches around the country, and they really they send us players that aren't a good fit for their team, and it's a soft landing point for some people that may never make varsity. But I think some of these athletes say, all right, I can prove myself, and this is competitive golf that I'm playing. It's one thing if a student says, hey, coach, I've been shooting, 69s constantly. It's my scoring average. All right, where are you playing? And are you playing in competitive events? So we provide that infrastructure that someone a college coach knows that they're playing in a sanctioned competitive event, shooting good scores versus just shooting them on your local course.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I guess it kind of throws them into the same kind of competitive nature and just gives them those repetitions that they wouldn't ever have if there wasn't something like this program for them to get involved with. That's pretty awesome. So let's shift gears here a little bit, because you guys have then taken kind of what you've done with the NCCGA, and then you realized, well, hey, there's the college golf, and then once you're done with college golf, it's kind of like, okay, now what do I do? But you guys came up with a little bit of a remedy for that as well with your city tours.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly the question that our club golfers would say. They're like, well, thanks for what you did for me in college. Like, this has been great. What do I do now? So that was a big step for us, was building our city tour, which is essentially team-based golf for young adults in major cities across the country. And we found that young adults were seeking that type of competition, or if you played varsity in college or you played club, and again you were used to playing team golf that was fun, and then you get in your young adult livelihood and you're like, geez, I really miss those competitive golf days. And one thing that we realized, similar to what I mentioned before about our customers were helping us develop our business, we had young adults who were coming to us and helping us build what we did, and said, well, this is kind of neat to have team golf. And so we originally started out with just team-based best ball. And what we realized is that we were limiting ourselves, because a lot of customers or potential customers and golfers would come to us and be like, well, I'm just not ready for a competitive best ball event. And that's where we see more of the competitive club players or former varsity players playing in the city tour. They're looking for that competitive best ball, playing your own ball event. And then we opened it up 2 years ago to opening a scramble division in the same tournament, so that caters more towards the recreational player. They're just there to get out, have a couple beers, and enjoy the experience.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, was what's the level of seriousness with the scramble events? I mean, again, does it kind of cater to all levels of play?
It really does, and it's awesome. One thing that we just love it, that people do take it really, really serious, and it's meaningful to them, and that's something that we've really pride ourselves on, is running great events and providing the infrastructure so you're being ranked locally and nationally. And it's pretty cool because people have a place to hang their hat. They have a club that they're involved with and playing with, and this is their circuit that they play in. And especially if they're not a member of a club, these are the events that they play in and look forward to throughout the summer.
I didn't pick up the game of golf until, I played growing up, some scrambles, and in college played a little bit, just not for college, just, played some rounds, and didn't really start playing the game until my mid to late 20s. And, the past, I think maybe 7 or 8 years, we started doing like a Ryder Cup event with a bunch of buddies. And it's just amazing how much fun it is when you put yourself in a little bit of a competitive event. And then also to have kind of the fun aspect of it too, where you can have a couple beers and it's not totally serious. But for a guy like me that never grew up playing really serious competitive golf, and I'm looking back at even my college days and kind of wishing like it would have been cool if there was a club golf team just to kind of spark my interest. I'm wondering how many people are in the college age, and then maybe even in the city tour, that are kind of introduced to golf. They're introduced to this competitive nature. Have you seen that? Maybe some newbies into the game that kind of get hooked because of some of this stuff too?
We have, yeah. It's cool. I think your story resonates well with, you're playing a Ryder Cup with some friends and you have a great experience. And, at the end of the day, it's really competitive, but you're there for the experience. We have seen that, quite frankly, we haven't done as an organization a great job of introducing brand new people to the game. And helping cater someone who's just never touched a club. But what we have really done well is helped re-engage those people that said, what, I want to get back into it. I haven't played for a while, and we give them a reason to get back into it and provide opportunities for them moving forward. So it's something, but we have seen a cool story at our Boston City tour here locally. There was a girl who had reached out to us early on, and we have a blog and we write articles about growing the game and learning the game and how to get to your local PGA pro and get introduced. So she started taking some group lessons. We introduced her to a local pro, and 2 years later, fast forward, she's playing in our events, and it was that bridge that got her from going to take a lesson to getting clubs and then playing an event. And she said, I know I'm awful, but this is just fun to be out here and meet people and be part of something, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I could see, somebody that only plays recreationally, maybe doesn't belong to a club or anything, again, a person like me that is then kind of tied into one of these events, and you just kind of get hooked, and you have anybody that's played sports before and has those competitive juices. It's a way to kind of rekindle that fire, if you will, even if it wasn't golf that you were used to playing. This episode is sponsored in part by Rad Roller. RadRoller.com is where you're going to find some of the greatest soft tissue and myofascial massage products out on the market. Let's face it, if your body's not moving well, if your joints aren't doing what you want them to do, your golf swing is not going to be very pretty. It's not going to be very effective, and it's not going to be very efficient. If you're not able to move the way that you want, you're going to start compensating. You're going to cause things to be thrown out of whack, and most likely you're going to injure yourself at some point. So what we need to do is take care of those things. We need to throw in that preemptive strike where we take care of those issues before they really impact us or affect us. So I use the Rad Roller products on a regular basis. In fact, just last night I was rolling around on the living room floor with a little knot in the upper shoulder, upper back, and couldn't pay my kids enough to try to dig it out with their elbows. And luckily I had my Rad Roller and the Rad Rounds, the smaller balls that are able to get kind of in the different nooks and crannies that were really able to help kind of free things up and get me moving much better. So if you haven't checked out the Rad Roller products, go to radroller.com and be sure to use the code 18STRONG when you fill your cart with all your goodies in order to get your discount. All right, let's get back to Kris. You mentioned kind of tying in with the PGA pros, and it looked like on your website you guys do a lot trying to engage the pros and the courses to get involved with some of the things that you're doing to help kind of spread the game, but also to kind of give opportunities to those players in your organization, especially the college players, I believe. How has that worked, and what are the intentions there of really kind of reaching out to the courses and the pros?
Yeah, I think anybody who's in the golf business or running events, we all acknowledge, and I love the campaign of thanks PGA Pro, because for us to be able to succeed, you need to have a great one, a great facility, and two, a great facilitator as a PGA professional who's there helping facilitate and run the events with our coordinators locally. We realize when events go really well, we have our coordinator doing well. We have great weather. Yeah. You have a great PGA professional, and you have a great facility. But PGA professionals, it's something that we've hang our hat on a bit too, is helping PGA professionals understand this generation. We've done an annual research study with Global Golf Advisors about our customers and what people are looking for, and how do we better help educate PGA professionals to understand what the experience. At least this is what customers are saying, what they are interested in, and it gives them some guidance and knowledge about how to better their business and better improve their experience at their facilities. But yeah, it's been we have some really, really great relationships with PGA professionals and junior tours around the country that we work collaboratively together to help grow the game. And our job is, how do we pick up some students where they might leave off, whether it's junior golf or high school golf.
What do you see? You mentioned kind of the change or the generational gap, and what do you see the landscape looking like with this new generation, and what are some of the things that you guys are doing that are different than kind of the old school model, or things that you're trying to help teach these PGA pros on how to either work with this younger generation or keep them interested or keep them engaged? What are some of those things that you're kind of sharing and educating on?
Yeah, I think a few things. One, obviously time and money are, everybody knows, are the two key issues that people have. I think, I think creating, making sure that there are opportunities and incentives to go. That's, this generation is driven on incentives, and we're also driven on reviews. So my presentation at the PGA show last year was really about reviews in your online brand, because you could have the best golf course and the best experience and be the best pro. But if say mostly younger people have a bad experience and they're writing about you negatively on Google or Golf Advisor or otherwise, it can really affect your brand. So that's one thing I think that's really, really important. Secondly, as it relates to 18 strong and fitness, I when we did our research study last year of millennial golfers, over 1,000 participants studied, and one of the biggest amenities that young people are seeking at clubs, and whether they're interested in joining a club or not, is the fitness component. So if a golf club has a gym or a fitness facility associated with it, I can grab you the stats. I don't know them off the top of my head, but it was really important to show. People said that's one of the big amenities that they're looking for. And a millennial, and how I'm thinking about that is, okay, if I get a golf membership and I can get a gym membership, well, if I get the golf membership and it includes the gym, then I'm saving money on a gym membership. So it's kind of this generation is very much about value, and what is the value that I'm getting? And I think millennials are very calculated, and we live in the information age where it's like you can just Google anything you want and you can understand whether you're getting potentially a good deal or not, and placing value on a club. And a fitness component was a surprising one that people were really, really interested in. So I think if you're a club manager or a professional that says, how do I want to improve my facility, being able to order drinks and technology from a cart, I mean, that's nice. Is that going to make or break someone getting a membership? I don't know, but a fitness facility might do that for some consumers.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't think that had as much weight as it does. So if you have that information, I'd love to see it, because it's interesting around this area. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and there are not many clubs that have any fitness facilities in them yet, especially some of the bigger clubs that have been around for a long time. I know that there have been mentions of it in member meetings and things like that, but it still hasn't been that push here. But I know that elsewhere, that's one of the big things, and especially in new clubs being built, that they're definitely putting those in. Now, going back to, the whole idea of marketing to the millennials and the website of the golf course, it always drives me crazy. And not that I'm a millennial by any means, but it drives me crazy when I go to a website for a golf course and their website is terrible. They don't have good pictures. It's like, all I want to do is see some pictures of the golf course. I want to find out, what it costs to play. So even just some of those simple things, it seems like golf courses can't get right. They're kind of still stuck in those old school days. So thank you for helping them out, realizing that we want to see those things. We want it to be easy to see the course and book a tee time. Yeah,
you're right. It's something I think, and unfortunately, our generation is very critical. And that's one of the hardest things for us. When we started the organization, our website was not good. It didn't look good, and it worked fantastic, but it wasn't visually appealing. And it's a very hard thing when you're targeting a generation who's used to an Uber-like experience, and they if it's not what they expect visually, then they could just leave right away. So it's a hard thing, I think, for the golf industry in general, but it is really, really important.
Well, and I say that I'm being pretty hypocritical too, as we have a website that we're ready to kind of revamp, because we feel like we're a little outdated and kind of sloppy with that as well. But it's just one of those things. I just want to see a good picture of that golf course. I want to go.
It's not as easy as you think. We can't be too hard on PGA pros, because knowing our CTO Mahesh is amazing and he does amazing work, but it's taken a while for me to understand, like, geez, that actually takes a long time to do, versus it's like, oh, just change that and do this.
Oh yeah.
That also affects a million other things, and development is difficult and it's costly.
Very true. But, this generation, we want it now, right?
That's true. Everything from time.
Back to the city tour. Just had a couple other questions that I wanted to follow up on, so people have a little more information. Are any of these events, like the best ball events, are those handicapped at all, or are they just straight, scratch events?
Everything, because we do it team-based, there's no handicaps. It's one thing that's pretty interesting that we found through a lot of our research and consumers is they weren't looking for just a regular handicap event. They're kind of sick of going to events where they get sandbagged by people and don't even have a chance at winning. And it's difficult to use handicapped in team-based events because of team-based scramble and team-based best ball. So, how we do it, it's a little bit unique, is you play with a partner. So you have a pair, and we take the top 2 pair scores out of 3. So you can have on the city tour up to 6 players on a team, and you have a partner as a pair. And again, you take top 2 of 3 pair scores for your team score. So it's a little bit unique in that way. And, scores, we do have maximums as well. So, triple bogey maximum. So we want people out there, enjoying their experience and having fun. And, it's, although some people would argue, is that pure golf if someone, gets a triple bogey? And to be honest, anybody in an event that's making a triple bogey or more than one triple bogey, they probably are not going to, be at the top of the leaderboard.
Right. And how are those teams just created by buddies just grabbing guys and getting them together, or are there other clubs that are kind of already formed that people can join up with too?
Yeah, so we have free agents that'll join any team. But the interesting thing about the city tour is we have teams that are a bunch of coworkers, or it's a bunch of friends from college or just buddies, or it's alumni from a university. They get back together. It's the old club golf team, and a bunch of them are in the same city. So it's pretty cool, and people, there's some very interesting names on the city tour and some of the team names. But we like to keep it open where people can create their own team and the experience that's best for them.
Cool. And can you specify? I know that there's an age restriction on that. So for us older guys, disappoint us a little bit. So give kind of the standards there.
Yes, anybody 18 to 39 years old can play. We do try to stay under 40, and it's one of the things that our golfers really like about the events. And typical golf events, no offense, it's a bunch of old guys, is what people usually say, and you won't get that at a NextGenGolf event. It's a bunch of young guys and gals.
All right, so you can send all your hate mail to Kris at NextGenGolf. But yeah,
Jeff, you're telling me here I'm going to get age discrimination here.
Well, I feel like you're just going to move on to the next chapter of NextGenGolf as your guys move past that 39 mark. Much like me, I'll move past that in May of next year. Moving on to the next group. I'll have to find a different name for that generation. I wanted to touch real quick on the fact that you guys are also in high school golf now. You guys have kind of taken on that a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's been fun. We launched the National High School Golf Association about probably 2 months ago now. It's been a project that I've been working on personally and our team over the last 6 months. And one of the things we found is that similar to club golfers, if you're a non-varsity college player, we felt that the high school game always got overshadowed by junior golf events. And high school golf is really important, and because everything we do is team-based golf, we felt it was really in our charter and mission to help high school golfers create more of an identity nationally, and try to get high schools to benchmark against one another and work together. A dream of ours is to have a real high school golf national championship in the future. And what we built is really information and resources for high school golfers, coaches, and families. And it was cool. We built the first ever, to our knowledge, national high school golf rankings, where we rank all the state golf tournaments all across the country. And that's the only consistent theme between state to state. So you can look, the fall 2016, spring 2017 rankings are complete. You can see who are the best high school golf teams, both boys and girls across the country, and who are the best individual players. So it's been fun, doing that. And our goal is to really help educate more high school students and parents and coaches that, there's opportunities out there like club golf, and there is a brand and organization that cares about you as a high school golfer. And if you're number 3 or number 8 on that high school team, like, somebody out there cares about you. It's not just always about the best. It's, we focus on the rest.
That's really cool. And that's at highschoolgolf.org, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Very cool. I love what you guys are doing in all of these. I think it's really neat to see the team effect coming into golf so much more. We're starting to see a lot more of even the collegiate stuff on the Golf Channel, and just getting a lot more coverage. And I think that's something that, has always been kind of I don't want to say a knock on golf. It's one of the beautiful things of golf, that it's such an individual sport, but it's also neat to have that camaraderie with, other either high school players or your buddies or whatever that might be. What kind of support are you getting from some of the bigger organizations? I know that you guys have teamed up with a couple different organizations. What kind of feedback are you getting from them? And then, what kind of feedback are you getting just in general from the players that you have?
Yeah, we've been really fortunate from some national organizations. Cleveland Golf and Srixon, especially, was an organization. They're our national partner who had found us years and years ago, and recognized what we were doing and the importance to the game. Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday is another national partner of ours. They've been really supportive of growing the game and helping our players and encouraging them of why Myrtle Beach is a great destination for golf and why it's the golf capital of the world. So we've been very supportive of a number of brands that have really helped us and helped us succeed and sustain as an organization, because we really try to keep the cost of events as low as we can to grow the association.
Very cool. Yeah, the second part of my question, I probably tacked on too much onto that question, was, I know that this has become a lot. It means a lot to the players that are involved in, from the collegiate level into the city tours. What's some of the feedback that you're getting from them as to how this has really kind of changed golf for them?
Feedback, as I mentioned earlier, is really, really important to us. We, again, to a fault, probably survey and ask people too many questions and feedback. You get a lot of positive. You also get a lot of negative, especially if it's bad weather or the course wasn't in good shape. But we, from a feedback standpoint, people love team golf. They love being, with their team. And, especially at the college level, we get, so many players and teams. And it's really special when we go to our national championship in a couple weeks, and students are, you don't meet them in person until the championship often, because we're running, so many events throughout the year. And they're just so thankful. Like, thanks for doing what you do and making club golf part of my college experience, which we hear that students say it's the best part of their college experience. And that means a lot to us. And it further proves what we're doing, provides that meaning and impact. And, I think about it, if we didn't exist and we didn't run these 180 events this year across the country, well, people would be playing golf less. Would they still be playing? Possibly, but I think we'd have some more lapsed golfers, or people, if there's no opportunity or no infrastructure for them, then they would be playing less often.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, everybody that's involved in these events is more than likely going out and practicing and getting more rounds in. So you guys have definitely done a huge job in growing the game at many different levels of ages. All right, I got a couple final questions for you here before we wrap this baby up, and I think these are coming. So,
these are the tough ones.
These are the real questions. All right, Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore?
I gotta say Happy Gilmore. I grew up in that age when Adam Sandler was really popular and has a lot of great movies, but I love both. But I'll go Happy Gilmore.
I figured you had to play the role, being in the next gen. You had to go with the younger movie for sure. All right, if you could pick a walk-up song to walk up to the tee box, what would your walk-up song be?
Short term, before this podcast, I was listening to Drake's Pandora Station.
Nice.
I gotta say, maybe I'll go 0 to 100 by Drake.
There we go. There we go. If you could play 18 holes of golf with anyone in the world, past, present, or future, just somebody interesting that you would love to spend that 5 hours on the course with, who would it be and where would you play?
I think, from a golf perspective and golf purist, Arnold Palmer is a person that, I really respect, who he is, what he's done for the game, and just who he is as a person. Read a few of his books, and I'd say Arnold Palmer. And from a course standpoint, that's a difficult one, but from what I've been told, and a lot of people say, Cypress Point's probably their favorite place in the world. So I'd say probably Cypress Point.
I've heard that from multiple people as well. All right, Kris. So what has you most excited with where you guys are at NextGenGolf and what's coming in the future?
I think it's really exciting for us, the launch of highschoolgolf.org, where we've grown. We've built the city tour over the last 3 years into a significant event platform. And the exciting thing for us is there's so much opportunity and room to grow. I look at the number of schools that are part of the NCCGA, and I know there's hundreds, if not thousands, of more schools that we can help, and students that just don't know about club golf, and it can make an opportunity for them. And similarly, if people knew more about the city tour and the opportunities available to them, it'll give them a reason to get out there more on the course. So I think it's pretty exciting on all three aspects of our business and where things can go next, and help out more golfers, and again create those opportunities and experiences for people to get out there on the course.
I just think it's so cool what you guys are doing and involving so many people, getting so many more people the ability to get out and play competitively. If somebody in our audience wants to support you guys in any way, or they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do
that? Get in touch with me personally, or
with you guys at NextGenGolf about whether that be to sign up to become to play in the city tour, or if they are looking to maybe build a team at their college, or they just want to kind of support the movement that you guys have going on in general.
Yeah, so the best way, our website, nextgengolf.org, is our site. We're, as we should be, as a millennial-based company, on all the social media channels, but we primarily focus on Instagram and Twitter. And our Instagram is NextGenGolf Club, and our Twitter is Next Golfer. So we welcome ideas, feedback, and support in any way, and very much appreciate you having us on, and the support 18 Strong has provided to us as well.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we're going to be talking much more in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thanks again for joining me this week on the 18 Strong podcast, and a big thanks to Kris and everything that the guys at NextGenGolf are doing. We talk about growing the game all the time, and these guys are literally growing the game by providing an opportunity for younger players to get out there, to compete, and like we said, to get out there and practice more and have a mission behind their golf, as opposed to just going out and playing around with their buddies and having a good time. So I think they're doing a fantastic job. If you want any more information on NextGenGolf, you want to figure out how to contact them, we'll have all of their contact information in the show notes page. Just go to 18strong.com and look for episode number 166, or search for Kris, Kris, and you'll find all the information from this episode. Another big thanks to our sponsors for this week's episode, PGA Tour mobile app and Rad World of Golf. Be sure to go check both of them out. And if you're not in our private Facebook group, as always, we would love to have you over there joining the conversation. Ask any questions, offer any advice, whatever you have. We feel like it's our duty and our mission to help spread the word that your body is the greatest piece of golf equipment that you own. And it's not always about the next driver or the new wedges, but it's about not neglecting what we have, making our bodies work well, making our bodies move well so we can feel well and we can play better golf. And we appreciate you being a part of this mission and helping spread the word with us. So we'll catch up with you next week. Train hard, practice smart, and as always, play better golf.
Thanks for listening to the 18 Strong podcast at www.18strong.com. And remember, train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.